Sugarcane Alley in fact, it's based on a very famous autobiographical story, a book written by Joseph Zobel. Zobel, his name is spelled Z-O-B-E-L. And this is the story of all the French Caribbean people. I mean, because it's a story that takes place in 1930 in Martinique, years after the abolition of slavery, and it's the story of a grandmother and her grandson. She raised a little boy, and he's 10. And that grandmother, she works, she's old, but she's still working on the sugarcane plantation to earn some money to educate her son. Because she didn't want the child to go to the sugarcane field like all the other poor kids, going there. And so she had some ambition for that child, because she understood that old black woman that she doesn't know how to read and write, but she understood that education is a very important weapon, a miraculous weapon, to talk like Aimé Césaire, our great famous poet, a miraculous weapon to survive, to fight, and to become somebody. And mostly when you are black. And that's why she decided to work hard and do everything she did to change his life. It won't be the same because there is a great evolution in the relationship between blacks and whites. At that time, in the 30s, I mean, they were just like slaves still. It was a slavery, a modern form of slavery. But today, no, it's impossible.
So in that sense, the issues there are economic,
yes. No more, because people, they are so strong now, and they are so proud, and they will never allow anybody to stand in front of them and having racism or no. I mean, it's impossible. I cannot imagine somebody from my country going to get something and say, oh, well, you cannot get there because you are black. I was very lucky because right there, the vice president of the Metropolitan Mayor of MGM was Marco Brando's brother, spiritual brother. And he's a man who was his agent when he started his career. And they always loved each other. They always loved each other. So when I told him that I want Marlon Brando to be in the movie, he said, it's okay, I'll call him for you. And Brando asked him to give him my phone number, and he will call me. A week went through, and I didn't have any call from Brando. So I realized, okay, he wanted to be polite, and he didn't want to say no, and he said he will call me. Then I left, I went to France for 15 days, and the very day of my coming back, when I walked in the room, when I opened the door, the phone was ringing, and it was Marlon Brando on the phone. And we started to talk. We spoke for an hour in French, and we talked, and we were joking and everything. And after that, I told him about what I was doing, about the story, and I sent the screenplay to him. And 2 days later, he called me and he said, I'm on it. I'm in it. I'm doing it, and for free. There's somebody like, I mean, all great actors, they expect the director to not direct them like you would direct the actor. They are icons. You don't direct them. But he expects you to discuss with him, give him some tips about the character, some insight, explain why he was the scene like that, who was that guy, feed him. He knows the job. He knows how to act, but you won't disrespect him by telling him what to do. But when you are shooting the movie, if he is too much over the top, if you want something different, you go and you tell him. The first feminist I ever met in my life was my father. The first one. Because we were two daughters and four sons. He never made a difference between boys and girls. At home, everybody, he used to say, you girls and you boys, you got 10 fingers. Whatever she can do, so can. When my father used to go to fishing with my brother, he would never invite me because that's a man's stuff. Okay. And then I would say, oh, Daddy, I want to go, and I want to go with you guys. I want to have my own fishing can. My father was so proud, and he said, oh, you little baby, okay, so Daddy will get you your fishing can. And he bought me my fishing can. The story is so funny because we spent the entire Friday evening, waiting for the fish to come, and only Saturday morning at 4 a.m., my can started to shake, and I started to scream, Daddy, Daddy, I got something. And he came, and you know what? There were two fishes at the end of the story. Two. And we used to make a joke and say, maybe it was two lovers. The man was trapped, and the woman said, come with you, baby. And we got them both. We make that joke. But we have pictures of it. That's the kind of man my father was. When he loved, to do, how you say that in a house when you fix stuff,
DIY. DIY.
DIY.
DIY.
Yeah. My father loved to do that, and I learned with him. I would say, okay, can I help you, Daddy? Yes, come on. And I know if I can do everything with my fingers. I'm not the kind of artist or intellectual, and I don't know anything. No, I can build things, and I learn with him. My brothers too. So he never made a difference. When I said to him, I want to be a filmmaker, people said to him, you're crazy, you are going to send your daughter to France to be a filmmaker? For them, filmmaker was like being a gypsy, somebody like being an actress. And no, my father said, yes, she's going to go and she will make us proud. Because there was nobody like that here. And the country needs that. And she always said, I would be very sad if one of my daughters will get married without having a degree, having a job, and be on her own and very independent. Never depend on a man. My father, my mother was depending on her totally, but he would say to you, I didn't want your mother to work.
Sounds like a Pharisee.
No, I'm telling you. He always said, your mother, I wanted her to quit working because I wanted somebody at home to give a good education to the children. So, but because she asked her to quit the job, my father was the kind of man, he would come and give a check to my mother. She would be the one doing whatever is necessary with her money. You see? But he said, time has changed. It's not the same thing. So I don't want my daughter to get married. I pay all studies for you. You want to the moon, I'll go and get you the moon to be who you want to be. But you need to have your freedom. And that's why when you say feminist, I didn't have to call myself a feminist because I'm nothing to fight for. But of course I would say that I always support any feminist action that is justified. For me, a feminist is not somebody who will reproduce what we don't like men do. What they do, we don't like, we condemn. Well, actually, my next movie will be an American film about Mahalia Jackson, the gospel, the religion of gospel. And that will, I start shooting in July. But I have a movie that I'm developing that will take place in the Caribbean and in France. Now, as a producer, I have work that I do with young filmmakers from Africa, from the Caribbean, from Europe, and I help them. I pay the studies. And the one who has a brain to go to film school, I pay for them. They go to school. The one who got their degree and they want to learn and to be filmmakers, I put them, I train them on my film, on my set, or I put them on films that I produce or friends who are producing movies. And I develop the screenplay and I produce them. here, who has a glass of juice. Molly. That's Molly. Voilà. Molly is a disabled young man. He's 22. Okay? You see? This is Molly. And he wrote a story, a short film. I cry when I see that because it's a story of a young disabled man who got a degree, who studied, and they call him. They call him to when they see his application. It's great, but when he shows up and they see that he has crutches, they don't want him. Okay, he wrote that story, and actually, when I saw that, I said I want to help him. And how can you help him? You help him by giving what he needs to do to redo the story. So I produce the remake of his own story by himself. And that film, I decided to ask Can to allow me in the tribute that they will be paying me tomorrow, to allow me to pay a tribute to that younger man by screening his film before my film. And Cannes Film Festival, they said, yes, that's a great idea, but we want to see it. And I said, no problem. And that's why I immediately, when they said that to me, I sent the people over there, I gave him what he needed to make the film. And today, so when they saw the film, they said definitely yes. Okay, so, and I brought him here. So he will go tomorrow on stage to present his film with his one leg and to send a message out to other disabled people, young people, to tell them, look, being disabled is not a fatality. You can change things. You know, have faith and fight and get educated. Don't let people put any barrier or say your leg is the handicap and you stay there. You can't go any place with one leg, one arm, or whatever. That's the message I wanted him by being here to send across in front of all these 4,500, you know, press people and all those people who will come to the festival. Yes, so that's what I'm doing now. Yes. And actually, you have a scoop here.
Yes, I'm smiling.
You need to do it for the right reason. Don't do it because it's I want to be famous. Don't do it for the wrong reason because you will disappear right there and you have a nervous breakdown very easily. Second of all, you need to master the technique. You cannot, and mostly when you are female, everybody should master the technique, know what you are talking about. Even if you don't know exactly, the name for things and stuff, but you must know why you are doing things and how to do it. Don't make yourself ridiculous, on stage because you don't know, but you want to be a filmmaker, but you don't even know anything about anything.
Learn your craft.
Go to school.
Yeah.
If you cannot go to school, go on the best school that exists too. Get yourself on a set and learn. Okay, that's a very good way to learn as well. Okay, so that's something I would say. And also, if somebody tells you that you cannot do it, or put any kind of fence or barrier, jump over the barrier and fly, and have faith in what you believe is right for you, and fight for it. Don't let anybody take you away from your dream. If you have a real passion for it, you need to be strong and adamant and never give up. Never give up. Like Bessie Coleman, our sister flyer, used to say, her motto was, never take no for others. That's my motto.
Brilliant. Thank you.